Oakland. It was $294. I mean, granted, I know I'm picking last minute, but it used to be I could get that last minute for under 200. It didn't matter. It'd be like 79 one way, 99 the other. And now you're right. It almost doubled. It's crazy.
I'm looking now just for fun. LAX to San Francisco in June.
Okay. So do the 3 weeks out. Do a regular, because they say you should book 3 weeks out. That's kind of the rule of thumb.
$230, $250 up from there. Here's an itinerary that's $298.
Oof.
Wow.
Here's
one. Here's a nice round trip. It looks like it starts with a red-eye flight.
Right.
Okay. And it has a stop in Santa Barbara.
Oh, no.
This itinerary will cost you $334.
That's just silly.
That's when you get in the car and drive it.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
Sure.
Yep.
Okay. Let us talk about something that military people can do today for free.
Veterans, active, and reserve military members can participate in the California State Parks for free on this Memorial Day. They say this is to honor the brave men and women who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our country, so State Parks is offering military individuals complimentary admission to some of the most amazing places in the California State Park system. All you have to do is have your valid military ID or proof of discharge other than dishonorable or bad conduct.
Oh, yeah, if you got kicked out,
you don't get it free.
No, you'll have to pay. Now, it doesn't say anything here about whether the people you bring with you
right, I did
get in
that.
free or get a discount. I personally, I would like to see this apply to, like, you plus up to 3 other people.
Yeah, like a family of 4 kind of thing.
That's, if I was running things, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
I think it may just be the veteran, though, or the military person gets it. It's still pretty good.
Oh, absolutely.
Hey, people are voting already for the June primaries. In fact, they opened up 120 vote centers for early voting in California. Mail-in ballots started going out. I can't do the math in my head, but this is 3 weeks ago, May 9th.
Oh, yeah, I got
3 weeks
mine.
ago.
Yep.
Yeah, they started going out. Dropbox locations have been open for some time. California, I will say, some people don't like it. I like it. California really has made it as convenient as possible for the highest number of people who are eligible to vote in a manner that fits their lifestyles.
Yeah.
I don't think we should ever, anybody who starts carping about methods that make voting easier, I'm suspicious of you. I'm suspicious of you and your relationship to democracy. I understand the concern about people who aren't supposed to be voting. I don't want people who aren't supposed to be voting. But it's true, these are two separate issues. Yeah. And of course, what they want to do is conflate the two, that somehow if you make the methods easier, that means for sure people who aren't supposed to vote are going to vote, which has never been proven to be true.
We go to number 18.
All right, I can do that. And you can, okay. If you don't like a certain kind of animal that's long and slithery, you're not going to like this story.
No. Let's talk about the good part of it. Hamburgers, theater talk. Maybe you're going to go to a Sonic today because that sounds grilly and Memorial Day, right? Well, there's this worker who was at the deep fryer and found an intruder hiding behind the deep fryer. So the cops come in and they found that the employees of the Sonic Drive-In in Brunswick, Georgia were huddled in the parking lot because they described the culprit on the phone as brown with diamonds on its back. And I love that the lieutenant who showed up said, when I saw it, I could tell it was just a ball python. It wasn't a rattlesnake. It's still a freaking ball python, Lieutenant Matthew Wilson.
But it's a ball python. It's not going to do anything to you.
But no, thank you. They
going to just give you a warm, loving hug.
They removed the non-venomous snake, but also found it a new home with a friend who has a large terrarium and a fondness for snakes.
Some people have a fondness for snakes.
I don't have...
Not you.
I don't, not like bunnies. Snakes are fine and lovely, but they just need to stay in Statesville, and I'll stay in Denville. The
Fair
two
enough.
shall not meet.
I see. You want like a real border wall between Jenville and Snakeville. All right, that is Handle on the News. Now, when we come back, the one thing that could be done in response to all these shootings, it already exists. It should be of no controversy to anybody, and yet it's not getting the attention that it deserves. This is KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeart app.
Let's have a safe and peaceful Memorial Day weekend. And thank you to all who put their lives on the line. KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk.
KFI.
KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Might want to check your flight. I'm Jennifer Jones-Lee, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. Airlines have announced hundreds of preemptive flight cancellations. ABC's Andrew Dimbert says there were thousands of delays Saturday and Sunday.
Delta Airlines saw the most cancellations, blaming bad weather and air traffic control actions. Some airlines telling customers to expect more cancellations, even as they reduce the number of flights they operate.
The flight tracking site FlightAware.com says 17 flights were reported canceled at LAX yesterday. There were 2 flights canceled at Hollywood Burbank Airport, but none at John Wayne Airport or Long Beach Airport. News is brought to you by Water Heaters Only. An LAPD officer has died after getting hurt in a training exercise at the Elysian Park Academy. Chief Moore says the accident happened last Thursday while the officer was working as a bike instructor. During an exercise that involved grappling with another officer, he fell to the floor and severely damaged his spinal cord. He died yesterday. Nancy Pelosi's husband has been arrested on suspicion of DUI in Northern California. Paul Pelosi was arrested late Saturday in Napa County. A spokesperson for the Speaker of the House says she will not comment since it's a private matter. Pelosi was in Rhode Island where she delivered the commencement address at Brown University. Deaths from alcohol abuse have risen in Riverside County.
Researchers with the county health department say alcohol-related deaths nearly doubled between 2010 and 2020. In 2010, there were around 400 alcohol-related deaths in the county, and in 2020, there were around 800. Researchers say people between 65 and 74 have the highest alcohol-related death rate, followed by people 45 to 64. They say men report binge drinking more than women and have a higher death rate. Blake Crowley, KFI News.
A hiker has died in Pacific Palisades. Firefighters and paramedics responded to the hiker rescue call yesterday about 11:40 in Will Rogers State Park. Rescuers were lowered to a place near Rustic Canyon Road where they found the hiker. He was declared dead. At the scene. Searchers in Georgia have recovered the bodies of 3 missing boaters from a river. Authorities say 5 people were killed Saturday when 2 boats collided. An official says one of the surviving boaters has been charged with boating under the influence. The collision near Savannah is the second involving a boat on the Wilmington River this month. The wreckage of a plane that crashed in Nepal's mountains has been found along with the bodies of 14 of the 22 people on board. The search for the mountainside crash has continued and there has been no word on survivors. The plane lost contact with the airport tower yesterday while flying through an area of deep river gorges and mountaintops. And Bo Hopkins has died. The actor was known for roles in the films American Graffiti and The Wild Bunch. He had recurring roles in TV shows like Dynasty and The Rockford Files. He died Saturday at the hospital in Van Nuys from a heart attack. Bo Hopkins was 84. Your KFI Financial Report is brought to you by Sweet James Accident Attorneys. Today the stock market is closed, but I will give you the price of gas. The average price of gas in California right now, this is regular, self-serve, unleaded, $6.15 a gallon.
If you're hurt in an accident, call the attorneys at Sweet James, 800-500-5200.
SoCal weather from KFI. We've got a sunny day ahead, but it's going to be warmer. Our warming trend starts today. Really will warm up by the middle of the week. Today's highs will be in the mid to upper 60s at the beaches. We'll be in the mid 70s for Metro LA and OC. Upper 70s to low 80s for the valleys in the IE. And we should see some 90s inland Wednesday and Thursday. Right now, it is 60 in Huntington Beach, 59 in Santa Clarita. From the Southern California Toyota Dealers Traffic Center, let's go places. Jeff Bob, good morning to you. Back to our trouble spot, the 605.
Well, you betcha. Thank you, Jen. Indeed, and it won't hold you up too long, but it is something you got to know about. It's the southbound 605 at Willow. That's getting real close to the 405, going down towards Shield Beach. But the right lane is still blocked here, so just be careful going down. In time, it shouldn't slow you down too much. Northbound drive is fine. Another thing popping up right now, West End Santa Monica Freeway at Arlington. Now, this is at the left lane of the OK to drive through collector lanes. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about if you do that every morning. Again, the delays are absolutely minimal. Here's something weird. Somebody's going to get to the lake and go, hey, North 110 Rosecrans is a boat. No trailer, no cars, just a boat sitting on the right shoulder. Be careful going through. And Jen was talking about air flights there. I got to give you a heads up. LAX is always a confusing spot, but especially today, it's jammed on the departure level. I'm sure there's a lot of confusion going on. Boy, if you're still home, give a call before you start that drive, that's for sure. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster. I'm Jeff Baugh.
As parents, we've done everything possible to protect our kids from COVID-19, from using hand sanitizers to masking up. But now we have the most important tool, vaccines. They help protect our children and the entire family. And it's okay to have questions. Ask your doctor about the COVID-19 vaccine for your child, or visit vaccinateall58.com to learn more and find a vaccine near you. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
Hey, all, it's Dean Sharp. Sunlux is my solar company, and here's yet another reason why. Tesla, yes, that Tesla. Tesla has awarded Sunlux special preferred access to the entire newly released Tesla solar ecosystem. That's the panels, the mounting system, and the most sought-after solar component, the Tesla Powerwall battery. It all amounts to the most advanced solar in the industry, and it's all waiting for you at sunlux.com. That's sunlux.com. CSLB 1008374.
America could soon enter stagflation territory with slow economic growth, high unemployment, and high inflation. That is why I recommend gold IRAs from Birch Gold Group. Hi, Stephen J. Bannon here, and I want to remind you to get Birch Gold's free info kit on sheltering your savings with gold IRA. To get your free copy, text the word SHELTER to 989898. With stagflation looming, it's critical that you act today. Text SHELTER to 989898 right now.
We've got your new AC, and we're ready to install it. Jimmy anticipated those supply chain problems and built a bunch of new ghetto systems before the prices jumped up. Buy a new ghetto today, and we'll install it tomorrow. Ghetto, GOE-TTL.
I feel incredible because I called 1-800-MEDICAL.
KFI,
More stimulating talk.
an iHeart radio station.
KFI AM 640, live everywhere on the iHeart app. Good morning. It's the Bill Handel Show on Memorial Day. Bill is off. I'm Wayne Resnick here. Some of the top stories we're watching for you at KFI. The Justice Department is going to do a review of the law enforcement response to a school shooting in Texas. And LA County has purchased $750,000 worth of baby formula. Soon it will start handing it out at food distribution sites. Now, speaking of the Texas school shooting and all the other shootings that invariably lead to this debate about what is to be done, and you have two main streams of thought that seem to develop, and I'm not going to spend that much time on them because we're all very, almost sickeningly familiar with them. One of them is you have to ban assault weapons, so-called assault weapons. You have to ban high-capacity magazines, basically focusing on the instrumentalities of these acts. And the other side of it is you should not do anything with any of these instrumentalities because this is all about mental illness. And in fact, Texas Governor Greg Abbott, just as soon as the shooting happened in Texas, was talking about it's a mental health problem. We need more mental health intervention, which is amazing that he would say that, because just back in April, he cut $211 million from the state mental health services in Texas. So that's a lot of talking out of both sides of his mouth. And I will say, I'm not taking a side in this debate about should we go after the guns or should we go after mental health, except to say that you will find people talking out of both sides of their mouth on both sides. Now, there's another method. It already exists. It does not require having to invent anything, or really, to be honest, figure anything out. It should be completely without controversy. There should be nobody who has any kind of political angle against this method. And it has already been proven to be highly effective at preventing these kinds of mass shootings. Not just school shootings in particular, but mass shootings in general. And it is threat assessment. You have a team. It includes law enforcement officers, mental health professionals, depending on the kind of person that you're talking about. It could be school officials if it's a student at a school, social workers, attorneys, and they come together and they take on a caseload of people who have been identified as being at risk of committing one of these heinous events. So the first question is, well, how do they identify people who are at risk? Well, a lot of the referrals come from friends or family members of these people who start to notice certain troubling behavior. And you hear about this in the media all the time. Yeah, he was starting to act squirrely. We knew he was starting to act squirrely. Sometimes it will be through law enforcement. If somebody actually gets into some kind of legal trouble in the early stages of developing this propensity. And sometimes it can come to their attention through a review of social media. So then that person is put into this program, and they're monitored over time. It's not punitive. They're not considered to be in trouble with the law. They're not being investigated for potential criminal offenses. They are being evaluated over time for whether or not they are displaying or suffering from the various constellation of factors that lead to the overwhelming majority of these incidents. There's at least 8 separate areas. You want to call them warning signs, that's fine. And the more of these you have and the more intensely they are displayed, the far more likely a violent event is. Here are some of these things you're looking for. Number 1, having grievances that you are focusing on to an unhealthy extent. Being mistreated in the past, sometimes it's social injustices that the person perceives. And not just having, being upset about a particular issue, but being obsessed with it. Threatening communication. You often see, whether it's on social media, whether it's something said to a friend, that somebody will actually say, I'm going to do something like this. They call it leakage. It's where all the stuff that's in the person's head starts to come out in a way that we could observe it. Sometimes, often, there are already patterns of aggression in play. For example, domestic violence. Now, domestic violence perhaps is not a big factor in a school shooting by a very young person, but this threat assessment is great because it can be applied to the risk of any kind of this event. A school shooting, the Las Vegas massacre, the incident in Orange County where somebody went and locked people in the place of business and murdered them. All of these things. So a domestic violence thing might be more appropriately present in some kinds of cases and not others, but it's one of the things that's on the table. Stalking behavior. When someone becomes fixated on another person or another location or another organization, and particularly when they engage in anything that might be considered harassment, that is a massive red flag. And we first learned about that when people were researching political assassinations and celebrity stalkers. the copycat problem. We've seen this time and again. These mass shooters explicitly say, oh, I'm really paying attention to what they did in Columbine or what that guy did at Virginia Tech, etc. And then the last part of it is this personal deterioration where someone stops going to school or they stop going to work or they stop hanging out with their usual friends. And then, of course, the obvious one would be if they engage in any kind of behavior where they are preparing to commit this kind of an attack. So buying a gun, going to a gun range all of a sudden, surveilling a place. That's very common behavior in the days before an attack. So threat assessment teams go in. They know what they're looking for. They're experienced. They're not tampering with anybody's civil rights. They're not jacking people up on criminal charges that can't be proven or haven't happened yet. It has been very effective. The number of cases where threat assessment intervention prevented a shooting would astound you if you knew how effective it was. Why isn't this already being done everywhere? Why aren't millions of dollars being thrown at putting these programs into place everywhere? Because everybody's more interested in fighting about assault weapons bans and generic statements about mental health. All right, when we come back, a state is forcing businesses to declare that they will not discriminate against a certain group. Am I talking about, I don't want to make cupcakes for gay people? Maybe. But maybe I'm talking about something completely different. You'll find out right here on KFI AM 640, live everywhere on the iHeart app. Here's Jennifer Jones-Lee, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
The FDA is investigating cases of hepatitis A. It says are linked to organic strawberries in California, Minnesota,